Hello, I'm Gerg Cahiles sitting in for Maiki Oreta. Welcome to Trade Talks, where we sit down with industry leaders, innovators, and change makers who are shaping markets, challenging norms, and making an impact. Here we explore the strategies that drive progress, the challenges that push industries and communities forward, and the ideas reshaping the way we work and live. What's new, what matters, and what's next? Let's find out together. Recognizing the rising number of local and foreign tourists in the Philippines, Ayala Land Hospitality is enhancing the travel experience with its diverse lineup of hotels and resorts in various parts of the country. Its signature brands like Seda Hotels and Nido Resorts will undergo major improvements, with ALH investing $500 million in the business for the next 5 years. To tell us more about this, we are joined in the studio by George Aquino. He's the CEO and President of Ayala Land Hospitality. Good morning, George.
Good morning to you, George.
George.
Great names.
Right, and thank you for joining us this morning. Now, to kick things off, let's talk about the rebranding of Ayala Land Hotels and Resorts to Ayala Land Hospitality. What made the difference now?
Okay, so really the reason we changed from Ayala Land Hotels and Resorts to Ayala Land Hospitality is really to leverage our expertise in construction management, operations, and other services. You know, as you know, hotels, not all hotels are in hospitality, yes, but not all hospitality companies have hotels. So by going into hospitality, we want to really take advantage of these services and expand it into our other SBUs within Ayala Land.
All right. Now, tell us how this Ayala's long history as a conglomerate shaped the philosophy of your company in the hospitality business.
Well, we take a lot of pride in being part of Ayala Corporation and Ayala Land. And we do really believe that we have to represent the company in this hospitality sector, but also we have the people. You know, hospitality is in our DNA of every Filipino, and we want to make sure that we bear that flagship in our hotels and resorts and other services.
You talk about the Filipinos as in the heart of everything. Now,
yes.
Let's talk about the authentic Filipino experience that you wanted to share to your clients. Where is it in terms of your operations, the service, among others?
Yeah. So you know, when people go to a hotel or resorts, right, and people talk about all the nice amenities, all the nice experiences, but at the end of the day, it's really the people that make a difference. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure with Ayala Land Hospitality that the customer journey comes first, that experience with our people, you know, they can really feel it, you know, and if we can accomplish that throughout that whole journey, then I know we've done a good job.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of what you're talking about earlier, I'm imagining, where do you begin as a lifestyle brand vis-a-vis the company's background, which is a real estate developer? Where does that start and where does that end?
Well, you know, hotels in general are part of a real estate, you know, it's part of our real estate package that we offer. And I think we've been in the industry since, you know, 2012. So we've been very successful in operating our Seda Hotels and the El Nido Resorts in Palawan. Yeah. And I think this is just really an extension of that. You know, we plan to continue on this experience and really leverage what we've done really well in the past 14 years and really move forward with our new products that we plan to launch in the next couple of years.
It's very interesting and exciting that you will be expanding more, especially that we saw how things went with your various resorts and hotels here in the Philippines. Now let's talk about your portfolio and your strategies. How many hotels are you operating now? Hotels and resorts are you operating now? And how many more are we expecting by the end of 2030?
Okay, so we have around 20 hotels that we operate at the moment, and our goal and our strategy is to double that.
Okay.
So we have about 4,000 rooms in our goal in the next 5 years, is to double that to 8,000 rooms. And what makes Ayala Land Hospitality really special is the breadth of our portfolio. We really can cater to the young, upcoming adults, to the people who can afford to go to a luxury resort like El Nido Resorts. So we really have that broad spectrum. I think that's what really makes Ayala Land Hospitality, our portfolio so strong.
Okay, so now let's talk about the expansion of the existing brands like Seda and the resort in El Nido. How many percentage of, excuse me, how many percent of your investment will go to those expansion projects?
Yeah, so we're going to spread our investment across several segments. So right now we are currently renovating 3 of our Sedas in BGC, in Davao, and Cagayan de Oro. And we're also relaunching Lagen Resort in Palawan, in El Nido there. So that is one segment that we continue, or we're very committed to making sure that we continue to build and improve on our current facilities. And then the other segment, of course, is we want to look at other options. And one of that is really looking at developing our own 5-star brand that we all can be very proud of. And it's something that we are very excited that our team's been working very closely with all our team members to make sure that when we launch this 5-star brand, that we can all be very proud and very excited about this new up-and-coming brand for the country.
We too are anticipating for that new brand. And let's talk about it. You call it Project Vodka. It's going to be a local 5-star company or hotel.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. What should the public expect from it?
Well, you can expect really, number one, it's going to be a 5-star product. So that's something that I think we all aspire to have in our portfolio. But one thing that's going to distinguish this 5-star product is it's really focused on design and Filipino. It's all about being Filipino, and everything that we do there really has touches of Filipino in it. We want to make sure that this 5-star brand that we launch is really something all Filipinos can be proud of. And you can see this in the experiences, in the art, in the design of the rooms. So it's not just, a token art piece. Yeah. It's really in everything that we do in the entire customer journey that they can sense it, from the smallest part to the bigger parts of the hotel.
Where do you plan to build these hotels?
Our current plan at the moment is, really to build this 5-star brand in our current estates. So we have one in Batangas, and also we want to build one in Mactan.
Do you have a name for this already?
Not at the moment, but when we do, we will definitely let you know.
All right, but why Batangas and Cebu? What are the prospects that these areas are, giving to your company?
Well, first of all, we have Ayala Land has beautiful estates and around the country, and we really want to maximize on those natural beauty and showcase that by building our properties there. Second, we also want to capture the growth in tourism in these key destinations in the country, and of course, Mactan is one of them. Yeah. And we just want to be there. We want to be present in the existing exciting destinations, but also in the new emerging markets in the next 5 years.
Well, I'm specifically interested about Batangas. What is it in Batangas that you think more a high-end hotel is necessary to be put there?
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I first visited our estate in Batangas, I got
Where is
there
it, by the way, sir?
in
Batangas?
Nasugbu.
Oh, okay, in Nasugbu, okay.
And when I stood right there and I looked at the surrounding trees. I was engulfed by these trees and the mountains. And I was thinking, gosh, this is just, an hour and a half, 2 hours from Manila, but I felt like I was in Baguio. And that's what got us so excited about developing our 5-star brand in this property. It's really a very, very special location. And it's close to Manila, but also for our international travelers, you just fly to Naiya, and then it's a short drive from Naiya to Batangas.
Yeah. Now, I'm interested about your timeline in building these hotels in Batangas and Cebu. Can you share it to us?
Well, what I can share with you today is, we are really focused on getting these resorts and hotels designed and developed and constructed. And we'll be opening these in the next, 5 years. And you'll be one of the first to know once we have a definitive date on when we're going to launch these new hotels and resorts.
Okay, now let's talk about your business and financial outlook. How will the $500 million be sourced? Or what percentage will be coming from loans if you're going to do it? Or how many percent will be from the equity?
Well, yeah, it's going to be both on debt and equity. But, I can't share with you exactly the exact percentage. But, what I can share with you is really we are going to be balanced as far as where we invest our money, as far as developing our current homegrown properties, but also in new developments.
Expansions would definitely mean more jobs for Filipinos.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about this?
Well, we're excited. Obviously, when you're building new properties, new hotels, it really will allow us to give more opportunities for Filipinos to find jobs, especially in hospitality. Our goal is to retain our talent here. And by having these new exciting 5-star properties and new hotel concepts, we're hoping that we could encourage them to stay here and really help us develop the tourism and hospitality industry within the country.
And so as the artists who you will hire to design and among others. And that's very, very important. Now we're taking a short break, and Trade Talks Economy in Focus will be right back. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and we continue our discussion with George Aquino, the President and CEO of Ayala Land Hospitality. George, we were talking about jobs earlier before we took a break. Now, what will be the system that you will be implementing in hiring people? Will you be focused on employing locals in any specific areas, or what will be maybe the formula that you will use?
Well, the main formula for us is really hire the best people, have the best people in the right places. Obviously, our main priority, of course, is to hire our local talent, which we have a lot of. And we're very excited to be able to give them that opportunity to work for a brand like Ayala Land Hospitality. And I think with that formula, we can really develop these new homegrown brands and also cater to our existing brands that we have in the country.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Do we have numbers already as to how many are the potential new jobs that you'll be offering?
Oh, not at the moment, but we will definitely let you know if we do.
All right. Now, with this new market, growing market in terms of hospitality, of course, we're talking about the competition, of course. So how does ALH plan to sustain profitability amid the rising costs, the operations, and of course the fierce industry competition?
Yeah. Well, we're proud to say that we are really we perform very, very well in the industry. Definitely one of the tops when it comes to revenues and also in the returns. So we will continue that and really use our expertise in how we operate these hotels and make sure that the returns are really good, not just for our stakeholders, but also for our loyal staff and team members.
Are we looking at potential global markets as well, now that you're focusing in the Philippines? But in the future, are you looking at that as well?
Well, in the next 5 years, my focus is really going to be on putting these 4,000 rooms in the best places, best destinations in our country. Down the road, of course, that will be our aspiration, is to have a Filipino hotel brand that we can be proud of and can be located elsewhere.
The Filipino brand positioning, how will it be different from your competition?
Okay, I can't speak for our competition, but this is what I can tell you. What we're developing right here, right now, as far as the Filipino brand, is we want to make sure that we really incorporate it in everything that we do, in every facet of running our hotels and resorts. So in addition to the design, we want to make sure that we work with the local communities and make sure help them enrich their lives, working with not just artists and designers, but also musicians. Anything that can help, showcase the Filipino culture and the strength of our culture to our guests in our hotels and resorts.
Now, you talked about the focus of Ayala Land Hospitality as to building your property in Ayala Land properties. Isn't it a bit limiting in terms of diversification of location? Aren't you exploring other areas that are not part of the Ayala estates?
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned, our first priority, of course, is to build our hotels and resorts in these beautiful Ayala estates. Second, we will definitely look at locations with key destinations in our country where there's some major infrastructure improvement, major public and private investments. And that's where we want to be. We want to be where the tourists are going. We want to be where the local Filipinos are going. And I can tell you that all of these things are something that we are definitely very focused and keenly aware that we have to be at.
Speaking of, how do you envision of shaping Philippine tourism? Of course, that's apart from, it's a business after all, so you still profit from it. How do you envision shaping Philippine tourism?
Well, we believe that we've always played a big part in tourism, and we are very keenly focused on that goal, that we have to be the premier hospitality company for our country. So we're going to capitalize on what the government is doing, what the private sector is doing as far as improving the infrastructure. And we want to make sure that we are present at these destinations. But most of all is the delivery of that. We want to make sure that we exude Filipino hospitality when our guests visit our hotels and resorts, that they can really feel it, because that's what they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about all the beautiful amenities and the beautiful scenery, but at the end of the day, they're going to talk about that one employee that really made a difference in their stay. And I think that is what makes Filipino hospitality unique compared to anyone else in the world.
It's totally the experience that you will provide to your clients. Now, of course, you're banking on the government's projection of 12 million tourists by 2028. I'm not sounding like very negative on this, but what are your contingency plans in case the government will not be able to fulfill its projected number of tourists here in the country?
Well, what I can tell you right now is we're very optimistic about it. I think the trajectory is there, and we see it. I think right now we're really focused on making sure that when we finally reach that 12 million, the Ayala Land Hospitality is right there at the forefront of delivering this unique Filipino hospitality to all of our guests. In launching premium and luxury brands, where is inclusivity and accessibility to the public in that plan? Well, as I mentioned, we have a broad portfolio ranging from select service all the way down to luxury brands. So what I can say is we're very focused to make sure that we cater to every segment of the population, every segment of our tourists. We will have an opportunity to experience a stay at Ayala Land Hospitality Hotels and Resorts.
You have very, very beautiful properties in Palawan. So
yes.
How will you ensure that there will be no over tourism, and probably it will not affect the ecosystem in those areas where you will be developing.
Yeah. So our El Nido Resorts are all on islands. So we know that the growth there is going to be very limited to what we have there. And we have this beautiful estate in Leo. And I think we're very, very systematic as far as how we approach growth within Ayala Land Hospitality. And I think right now we just have really a broad opportunity to really expand on that. And I think we're very well positioned to make sure that if there is growth, big growth coming in the next coming years, that we're going to be very prepared and be open to that and to cater to our guests.
How do you collaborate with the communities and the local governments?
Yeah, that's something we're really very proud of with Ayala Land and also Ayala Land Hospitality. In everything that we do, we want to make sure that the community also benefits from it. So like, for example, in El Nido Resorts and also in, let's say, Seda Leo, we really work with the local communities, the artists, the restaurant owners, the tricycle drivers, to make sure that we can be a big part of that, because we know we can't do it by ourselves. We need the community, to make sure that we're successful. And for a Filipino hospitality brand, we really have to be very inclusive. And I think we're very focused on that. And we're very proud of what we've done so far. And I think in the next 5 years, we're going to continue that focus on making sure that, we're at the forefront of Philippine hospitality.
I heard you'll be having international collaborations as well. Can you briefly talk about it?
Yeah. Well, we're very blessed that we've had good relationship with international brands. As you know, we have our Fairmont and Raffles Hotel, which is under Accor, and we have our Holiday Inn and Suites in Makati, which is under IHG. We do have a good relationship with all the key international brands, and we want to make sure we are the choice brand for these companies coming into the country. And when there's an opportunity for us to work with them, and we feel it's the right product at the right location, that's definitely something we will try to take advantage of.
Of course, the pandemic has hit the hospitality industry so hard. And what are the lessons that you've learned moving forward, especially that you are investing a lot of money here?
Yeah. Well, some of the lessons we've learned, the most important thing is really we need to always take care of our people. And during the pandemic, we're very proud with Ayala Land and Ayala Land Hospitality that we really took good care of our people. And lessons learned, we have to be prepared for anything. While we're very optimistic about the industry and where it's headed, where tourism is headed, we have to be prepared for that. And I think the pandemic kind of gave us a reality check that, hey, you got to be ready for these, and you have to have contingencies for it.
Maybe just to wrap up this interview, what is the legacy that you are looking at in terms of offering a luxury hospitality space in contrast to meeting the profits that you are expecting?
Yeah. Well, I think this is the legacy. I think to us, it really comes down to the individual guests staying in our hotels. Number one, we want to make sure they feel like they're getting the value. Number two, they feel like the hotel that they're staying at with ALH really represents the country. And I think when we take care of our guests, the guests will talk about us, promote us, and they'll come back. And the returns will happen. If our guests are very happy and very proud of Ayala Land Hospitality, we believe that our returns will definitely will follow right after that.
All right. And that's the authentic Filipino experience that you are going to give to your clients. So thank you very much, George, for joining us this morning. And that's it for today's show. I'm Gerg Cahiles. Stay up to date on the latest in business and the economy here on Trade Talks. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.